there, Nick. How are you?
Good.
Great. Well, welcome to Health Coaching TV, Nick. And I'm delighted to have you here to introduce you to my listeners and subscribers. I'm just going to share a little bit of background on you. You're a marketing and business coach specialising in empowering women. And a mum of two, Darcy and Ruby.
Yep.
And how old?
8 and Ruby 2 on Sunday.
Oh, happy birthday, Ruby.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, Nick, you've got great experience in working with women and mums especially, including me, and I have just loved and do love the work that we do together. You're just amazing and an incredible influence in my life, but also many, many other women that I know. And you're a true gift to us. So I'm delighted to share you today, and on this great topic on mums, and that really being a mum is okay, especially in time for Mother's Day. I think it's a great time for us to reflect on what being a mum is all about. So today, our intention we've talked about is to really celebrate mothers, but at the same time look at where we are today in terms of motherhood and some of the kind of issues that we're dealing with, and how and what we can do realistically to really make it the best life we can, and be adding to the family and living a very full life for ourselves.
Yeah, look, motherhood, gosh, I mean, if pregnancy doesn't rebirth you, and if the birth doesn't rebirth you, then motherhood certainly will. And I think that's such an incredible gift that we get, is that opportunity to, in some degree, push a reset button.
Yeah.
And it offers us like a doorway and a gateway in to say, well, hold it, where I am now. When you experience and you touch that degree of love, you can't have the rest of your life the same again. And so many of us go through the eye of the needle because we feel so stretched in where we are. We're stretched in the point of, can I return back to my corporate work? Is my corporate work fulfilling my heart? Do I need to now change? A lot of it, women are removing themselves from the corporate world at enormous rates and setting up their own businesses, as we know.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, again, as a mother, how can you go back to what was when you're not the same again? And really, it's an opportunity to actually celebrate that shift and that change. And I know that you and I were saying earlier, one question that I always get asked, and that is, what's my purpose? What am I here for? It's got to be for something. It can't just be for increasing someone's dollars in someone's bank account. It's got to have some purpose. And you know what the reality? The reality is actually one of your sole purposes is to be a mum, because you are.
Yeah. And Nick, what's so interesting is that we are so well prepared for professional work, or leaving school and going to work and that corporate world. But there's no preparation for being a mum. And so once you get there and you have these children, and you've got the dynamic changes in the home and your relationship with your partner, it can be really isolating, I think. And
totally.
And hence all those questions come up. And so if you're not prepared for it, or you're not happy, there's that constant thing that I should be doing, I should be working. And you're always asked, even when you have a newborn baby, when are you going back to work?
That's right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't prepare us even for relationship with other women.
Yes, no, that's right.
Really, if there is anything that is going to really stretch you, and you know that you and I talk about this, that the biggest number one fear is we think that our fear, even though we've heard all the atrocities that men, can commit, our biggest number one fear is that of another woman. What happens if my baby cries?
Yes.
What am I going to be, what happens when I get to a mother's group? Am I going to be completely honest? The first question I'm going to ask is my baby sleeping through? Think of I think there is a invisible quill pen that we sign that says, thou shalt take all the mother guilt on as my own. My child's pain, my trust in another woman. It just becomes like a raw, exposed wound. And so the need to surround yourself with community when you're a mum is so primitive.
Yes.
And such an incredible need.
Yes.
So that you can fill your cup. Because think about what we've come from. We've come from being surrounded by a village. Of elders, of our mothers' mothers, of you name it. And all of a sudden, we're in this box, aren't we? Yes, and we're having to do it all. And so what do? We get frenetic and we get this, I don't know the answer. And this is where women like you, Kate, are such a blessing, because we would have put you in the elders box, the wisdom box, where we could watch you and we witness you, and you are the living book to mothers as to how to show up for your children in one of the areas. But there's so many other areas. And it's so important that we fill our cup with community and looking after ourselves, knowing that what sits at the background is a hell of a lot of mother guilt.
Well, and Nick, I think the thing there is that we are used to doing it all, and we can more so before children. But then when we have kids, I think that's the biggest thing is you just can't do it all. You can't do it all, and we're not made to do it all. So
no,
as you say, it's so important to bring in those resources.
Yep,
to share the load.
But we're not programmed for that. Where have we had it modelled, and where have we been taught the word thank you and yes? Yeah. As a woman, the epidemic we have is that we serve everybody. Yeah. We look after our children, we look after our partners, we look after friends, we should be nap timing and we'll clean the house, it's this constant adrenal overload and this I need to be doing, I need to be serving. And yet the person that comes last is us. We're not taught to serve ourselves first. No. And so some of the things and it can be little tiny tweaks, right? It can be a tweak in saying, you know what, today I am going to give myself a glass of water, because that's what all it is, in this.
Yes, beautiful.
Because I deserve it.
Cheers,
or
Nick.
I am, yeah, exactly, see?
Beautiful.
And, this is where, when we focus on slowing down, and this is the beauty of children, isn't it? Yeah. Because when we slow down to their pace, everything becomes magical. Mm. And we get to fill our cup up so that at least we don't come last. Because we're burnt out as women. We are burnt out.
And Nick, I think that was one of the hardest things that I found being a mum, and that I have really had to get my head around a lot, is that you have children and you want to and think that you can continue at the same pace. And you want to fill the day up with gymbaroo and swimming classes and play dates and all the rest of it, rather than just hunkering down and enjoying the children and the moment for what it is.
Yeah.
But we're kind
Absolutely.
of seeing that's not recognised as being important. But it's kind of, that's okay, that's good. It's it's adding to the experience, isn't it?
It is, and I think that's where, certainly, again, one of the things that I really instill in my clients is that when you slow down, you fasten up.
Yeah.
And that is so, it feels so the complete opposite, because if you slow down, doesn't that mean you get nothing done? But as a males are used to pushing themselves out there. Mm. But you know what? We're receivers. That's not, our wisdom is very internal. Did we actually, and this is again the wisdom of birthing, did we actually actively do anything? Did we learn any books about how to birth? Mm. Did we, yes, we could have researched it, but at the end of the day, did we really do anything other than surrender and receive? And that's the beautiful thing about all of this, is that when we tap into what it is to be a woman, and birthing and being a mother gives us that great opportunity, and that is when we slow down and we really, really settle ourselves in, what comes up is profound wisdom. Mm. And we don't need to search for that, because we are already it. Mm. So we're already it.
Totally, and I think that's a great comment, that the gift really is in slowing down. And that's where the magic happens, where you can tap into that.
Yes, we don't need to read a book about that.
Yeah.
We don't need to create structure or push ourselves out there to try and find that. Actually, the beauty is in literally turning around and literally and realising how beautiful that flower is, because that's what a child does.
Yes.
And that is the gift of babies and children, if we let that be the case, to seriously slow down. But we miss that.
And so, Nick, I think that guilt, you briefly talked on that a moment ago, but I think that guilt steps in there, doesn't it? That I should be doing more, I should be cleaning the house, I should be doing dinner or whatever it might be. But just taking the time to...
But that's the push of the masculine. And it's because we've been so programmed to come in through the lens of masculinity. Whereas actually, if we came in through the lens of femininity is about this flower. I mean, it's about just knowing that the perfection is already in the flower, and it just opens. And then it closes and it settles and it opens again. And that's the beauty of being a woman. If we slow down, we receive so much more. I mean, when we really nail it, it's because we've slowed down and we follow our gut feel, and that's what being a woman is. It's settling in. We already know we're intuitive. We feel. I mean, our body is amazing. We produce milk when we hear our babies cry. We didn't actively go and do any of that. That's how incredible we are.
Oh yeah, and our bodies are innate. Yeah, exactly.
Incredible, amazing. And if we just understood, just even really absorb that.
Yes.
Slow down, get to the rhythm of the child.
Yeah.
And even in business, get to the rhythm of the child.
Well, and even if the children are older.
Yes.
The rhythm of nature, life, the child, just the rhythm of what's going on around us.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we miss it. We miss it because, again, that masculine, I think the guilt comes in because it doesn't feel right for us to go at that pace.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't feel right. But that's where you layer in again, women and collective women around you. But you know what? In order to invite women in, we really have to be honest with each other, and often we're not.
Yeah. Totally.
And that is a big, raw wound. That there's something shame about exposing and making a choice to be a mum. I mean, I became a stay-at-home mum after we sold our last business, and all of a sudden my label was, I'm just a mum.
Just a mum, yeah.
I mean, what a privilege, but what shame came with that.
I know. And then the pressure of going back to work. And having that label,
Yeah.
You said something else about children. I think you mentioned that you have a manifesto that you go by, Nick.
Yes, I do. Do you want me to read it out?
Yes, that'd be great if you could share it with us.
Yeah. Now, let me tell you why I did do this. I did this because I, as a mother and as a mother in business, I wanted to not hide my children away, and I wanted to put my children first.
Yes.
So what I wrote is that, let me just say, this is what I give to every single one of my clients straight up. Okay? So I wrote, I am Nicole Rowan Holt. I'm a recovering addict of mother guilt. I pledge to declare that I am first a mum, and secondly, I'm a businesswoman who is passionate about being the best in all I do. I commit to always cancel appointments and meetings when my baby is sick and needs me. I commit to never apologise for this. I commit to always being open and transparent, and to honour my soul's purpose to be a present mother who enjoys her babies. I commit to see my children as adding value to my business. I commit to slow down and connect with their never-ending stream of love, and to see this as one of my biggest business assets. I know that spending time playing and laughing with my children will help add clarity when I'm stuck, creative love and energy when I need inspiration, and joy so that I can fill my love tank with so much love, and this allows me to be of greater service and joy to my clients. And when my little ones are sick or at home, I promise to never book appointment times that demand the need for accurate timekeeping. My appointment times will always have an ish at the end. I will never ring when my baby is taking a little longer to settle, and to say that I'm going to be late. I promise to trust you, and trust that you trust me, and that we both know that I'll be on the call as soon as I can be. I'll allow my child to join our meetings when she is not asleep. I'll reschedule if she's upset and demanding of my time. I request and demand that if you are a mother, that you treat me the same. and I commit to demonstrating the above values to all women who are pregnant, and even to those that do not have children. I promise not to hide myself or to hide my children. And then it goes kind of on from there. But the reason why I did that, I wanted to give women permission to be mothers. And I wanted to give women who had little babies permission to put their babies first. And the reason, again, so when I rocked up with a meeting with you, Kate, there was no guilt whatsoever.
And you could be fully present and make the most of that meeting.
Yeah, and you know what? I generally never had to be late because I wasn't stressed putting my little one to sleep.
Yeah.
So we know what happens. Yeah. You know, we are the first ripple in the whole family.
Absolutely.
And when we are stressed, it ripples out the whole way. So this was a way for me to go to my work totally guilt-free.
Yeah, perfect, beautiful.
And so I will, you know, I have meetings and I'm at a coffee shop and I've picked a coffee shop that has got toys there. So Ruby's cup is filled and my cup is filled because it's in a coffee shop and my client's cup is filled because we're concentrating and we're connected to each other.
Yeah, beautiful. So
it impacts everything, and that's because what underpinned that, what was at the background of all of that is, I give myself permission to not have guilt here.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, that is such a big thing for mums.
Huge.
And I think,
huge.
You know, if there's one thing people can take away from today is that, like that.
Yeah.
Say no guilt.
No, I know. And you know, in the no guilt, they have to admit they're a mum first.
Yeah, absolutely. And embrace that, hey?
And embrace it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And embrace it, not hide their children. Children are profound. They add so much wisdom if you allow it.
Yes.
They're not these little, you know, they are profound little beings.
Yeah, totally. Nick, so just such wisdom. You know, I just love it. So I want to wrap up though, because I don't want to take too much time. Is there anything else, you know, I guess from what we've talked about, the one thing I know we talked about when we first hooked up and discussed this, you said, you know, there's so much to talk about, there's so much we could cover. Yeah. So we've only just touched the surface. But, you know, for one thing for mums going forward and with Mother's Day in mind, what is the biggest thing that you see with mums that you think is the kind of the first thing and the most important thing we can be doing and adding in?
Well, if you look at my manifesto, the thing that I wanted to do was to create a life which enabled me to actually fill my cup in all areas.
Yes.
And so I would be saying conscious pleasure taking.
Yes.
So, you know, as I mentioned at the start, if it is just the act of buying yourself flowers, if it's the act of saying, you know what, the cup that I'm going to choose is not going to be the crappy white cup. Yeah. It's going to be one, you know, like that, because I actually deserve it. And when I drink from this cup, it's an affirmation to myself that, I'm good enough. I'm enough and I'm to be celebrated. Yeah. And, you know, little tiny tweaks like that, little tweaks of filling your cup. And even if it is simple as when I do the laundry, I'm actually going to fold my clothes first and I'm going to put my clothes away first. Mm-hmm. So the awareness of where you put yourself, do you serve you? Because just like that cup, you know, in order to be a mum that lines up to be guilt-free, your cup needs to be overfilling. And when your cup is overfilling with love, sorry about that, when your cup is overfilling with love, then you can give the rest to everybody else and they get the spillover. And that's what an empowered mother leads from the front. So that's what I would say.
Great.
Pleasure first.
Pleasure first. And Nick, you know, what a great role model then that becomes for your children.
Totally.
Because you've got a happy mum, and also I think, you know, to put yourselves first, and that's a big mind shift, I think, and that's something, you know, I've had to work a lot on too, personally.
Yeah. And you know what? And it is a very simple answer, and that is, at this point in time, how could I fill my cup for me? If I'm a taxi, if I'm doing a football run, or I'm doing, you know, all of that, how can I make this journey more pleasurable for me?
And look, let's invite people watching and listening. It may not be, even if it's a male, you know, what can they what can they be doing more to fill their cup? You know, that's that pleasure, that self-pleasure, and
Absolutely.
to be slowing down, putting themselves first.
And if it is a dad, what can I do to serve the woman of, the mother of my children? How can I help her fill her cup? Because when she feels empowered, the whole family is empowered. She is that powerful. And I'm not saying the dads are not powerful, they are.
Yes. No, but together, awesome.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's fantastic, Nick. And I will mention to everybody that you have a program, like a membership forum that you are establishing called Sistership.
Yep,
Do you just want to give us a quick little bit of information on what that's about?
Yep. Sistership will be. So I'm in the process of getting it all organised at the moment. It has a Facebook page. And so it's an online forum for women, and it's going to be online and offline. And the reason for it is because actually I'm born on Anzac Day, and I've watched Mateship. And I've watched the idea that, having had a son, that the boys have such an identifiable Australian identity, a pack, a tribe, a whole language, a whole vernacular.
Yes.
And when we describe what it is to be Australian, it's all masculine.
Yes.
And I said, well, hold it, hang on. There's a word, mateship, but what's ours?
Yes.
What do we have as women? And there was nothing. And so I created the word sistership to start to rise up a space and an identity and a home for women. So it will be that. It will be an online community for women to feel held and loved and safe, and to have them express themselves and fill their pleasure cup in all areas of their lives. So I'm really excited, but it's coming.
Yeah, and awesome community. What amazing.
Amazing community. And again, there's something profound when women come together.
Yes.
We change the world. We sync our cycles. We are stronger than one of us. All of us, when we go together, amazing stuff happens.
Yeah, fabulous, Nick. Thank you so much. And people can follow you on Facebook, Nicole Rowan Holt.
They can friend me. They can also get onto Facebook for Sistership as well.
Fantastic, for more great wisdom. And Nick, also, just so delighted that you're also going to be joining us in Our Happy Children as well. Where we'll
thanks, Kate. I'm so excited.
I know, it's going to be great. And we'll be going into a lot more of this, just how we can support mums in that, our amazing mums in the role that we have, and celebrating it more, and also in terms of nourishing our kids. So thank you so much, Nick.
Thanks, Kate. Thank you so much. And good luck to everybody. And happy Mother's Day.
Yes, happy Mother's Day, everybody. Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, Kate.
Bye.
Bye.